We had a young man take the helm as ASB president, and with his leadership, he changed the ASB Constitution. He made a difference at Summerville's campus. He instituted programs here at school because he was a leader. That has continued on through his career in the Air Force. And so what we have is a young man that is coming back to give you his thoughts, his ideas, show you what he's been doing since 1998, 1999, to give you an idea of what is available to you here at Summerville as far as freedom and what it takes to obtain that, and the respect that he has for America. Okay, so I'll give you a brief background. He graduated in 1999. In 2003, he graduated from the Air Force Academy as a distinguished graduate. 2004, 2005, he took his pilot training at Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas. 2005 through 2008, he was a T-37 instructor pilot teaching basic flying skills. 2009, 2010 year, F-16 basic course in Springfield, Ohio. 2010 to present, he is an F-16 pilot at Aviano Air Force Base in Italy. He's been deployed to Afghanistan for 6 months in 2011. He flew 369 combat hours during day and night. He employed his weapons 31 times, responded to 73 troops in contact and priority tasking to help our soldiers on the ground. I'd like you to give a big Summerville welcome to Captain Luke Gruenther.
Thanks for the standing ovation, man. I appreciate it. Hey, I know you guys are looking at me in the monkey suit. You're thinking, who is this dude? I remember, I was sitting there too. I was class of 99. Here's my high school girlfriend, Cassie. Pretty cute. Yeah? I thought so. Yeah, so I married her. Now she's a total babe. Cass, stand up. Yeah. All right, so a couple of the guys out there, I know you're thinking, how do I land a girl like that? Come on in, come on in. Here's the secret. Listen up, this is important. It's all about the car you drive in high school. Okay? This baby's a 1981 Toyota Corona. Yes, Corona. It's painted with house paint foam brushes. The racing stripes right here are orange and black, good Summerville colors. The grill is missing on the front, and I've got an Auga horn on there. And right up here, I hooked the windshield wiper sprayers up so that they would spray out to the left side. So when Mr. Urquhart and Mr. Hulstad were saying goodbye at the end of the day, I could send a spray out there, and they just look up thinking it's raining on a perfectly blue day. Since then, I've joined the Air Force. I've had some promotions. I've been working real hard, and I've upgraded my ride a little bit. So this is what I fly now. This is an F-16. I'm a fighter pilot in the U.S. Air Force. I'm not here as a recruiter. The Air Force doesn't even know I'm here. I'm just here to talk to you guys as fellow Summerville students and just kind of give you some perspective on the war that I fought in Afghanistan last year and just some of the really cool things I've seen along the way. Afghanistan's right here in the white, just east of Iran, not a super friendly country to the U.S. And then you've got Pakistan over to the east, which makes things a little bit challenging. Sometimes they're friendly with us, sometimes they're not. Afghanistan's got a little bit of everything. It's got desert in the south, big mountains in the northeast. I was stationed right here near Kabul, just north of that at Bagram Air Base, about 5,000 feet elevation up near the mountains. To give you an idea what Afghanistan's like, it's absolutely beautiful. There's a little bit of everything. Big landscapes, deserts. You got stuff that kind of looks like a mini Grand Canyon. This is completely unspoiled. It's beautiful. High mountains in the northeast in the Hindu Kush mountain range. This is the middle of summer. There's still snow up there. You've got glacier lakes here. 18,000 foot peak. This is one of my favorite ones to fly around, so whenever I had extra gas, I would go kind of divert to this and fly around it a few times. Some nice desert stuff. You can see all the farming they're doing here, just basic cultivation using the water. And then see this lake up here. Here's a closer shot of that. Absolutely beautiful. Not that many people around. It's really nice. This is Bagram Air Base. This is, to give you an idea of scale, this is a 2-mile long runway here. Okay, so this base is enormous. It's one of our biggest ones in Afghanistan. And this whole perimeter is all coalition troops, meaning the United States and its allies. Okay, there's about 40 or 50,000 people on this base during the day. And then, I don't know, 10,000 or so leave and go back to their homes out here in the valley. They're there to cook for us and do whatever. It's a massive base, 24-hour operations with airplanes going in and out the entire time. A couple of the guys that live on base here with me these guys are crew chiefs, so they work on the F-16. They're basically maintenance guys, and they just take care of the jets all the time. They're always working 12-hour shifts over there through the dust, through the wind, real harsh conditions, sometimes hot, sometimes cold. They were always there, and our jets were always ready to go for a combat sortie. Like I said, 24 hours a day. Here's the F-16 itself. Incredible airplane. You've got wing tanks here on the side, so these allow us to stay airborne for about 2 hours. No fuel for 2 hours. These are 500-pound bombs on both sides here, and then on the wingtips we have air-to-air missiles. We don't really use the air-to-air missiles anywhere right now, but obviously the air-to-ground stuff is big in Afghanistan. Here's a close-up of the bombs we're carrying. They're both GPS-guided bombs. This one has a laser seeker, so it'll go to laser energy that I point from the jet, and I can hit a moving target with that. Otherwise, this one will just go to GPS coordinates that I plug in. You can see here a real nice view of the bubble canopy. It's absolutely awesome airplane to fly. It's completely built around the pilot, great visibility. It's pretty tight in there, I'll show you that in a second, but it's a great view from up on top. And then right here is our cannon, 20mm gun. We carry 500 bullets in it. 20 millimeters about this big around, about that long or so. And those bullets come out of there at 100 rounds per second. So we got about 5 seconds on the trigger and then we're out of bullets. It's a pretty powerful weapon. Another thing we are carrying at times are these high incendiary rockets. So these shoot out of the airplane. They go supersonic, make a really loud boom as they're flying through the air, and then they make it smaller than a bomb explosion on the ground. So great for scaring guys and making them stop shooting our guys on the ground. Here's a view from inside the jet. Those are my knees you see there. You see there's not much space. I've got a couple inches on either side to just move my legs in or out, and that's about it. There's not much space. Everything from bottom left all the way around, these are all dials and switches and things, so there's just not a lot of room in the airplane. But it's definitely comfortable. It's built around the pilot. I was typically flying 4 to 6 hour missions in Afghanistan, so it's a long time to sit in one seat like that without being able to move, especially for a tall guy like me. Our objective was the same every mission for 6 months. It was takeoff. We take off in full afterburner. You can see it glowing here. Two ship, meaning 2 airplanes would take off together, and we would go to the airspace and check in with our guys on the ground, and our sole objective was just to give the ground force commander whatever he needed. Whether it was protection, whatever he needed, that's what we were there to do. We are hunting these guys. These are Taliban militants or just other insurgent groups. They carry Soviet-era weapons, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Problem is they look a lot like these guys. These guys are friendly Afghans that are on our side. They also carry AK-47s and things like that because there's tons of Soviet-era weapons running around there. So it's pretty hard to tell the difference between good guys and bad guys sometimes. And they hide out all over the place. This is Kabul, big city near the mountains. This is a little more out in the sticks. Pretty typical Afghan setup. You got a wall around a perimeter, and then one living facility where they have multiple families, multiple generations living in there. People sleep on the roof in the summer because it's real hot, and then have their livestock in the center there, inside the walls. A little more modern era stuff with some older stuff that's obviously run down. And then some guys that just live out in the middle of nowhere in the desert in tents. You can see right here's a motorcycle, so probably how they get to the nearest little village. Water trough, and then probably all their belongings are inside those tents. It's pretty amazing. They live, and they're far out there, way out there. It's amazing. One of the favorite pastimes for the Taliban is to, we have supply routes that go along this road here next to the river. There's also a base up here, a base up this valley as well. And so the Taliban, pretty much every day, will hike up somewhere in these mountains, anywhere along here, hike halfway up, find a good hiding spot, and start shelling our guys with rockets, with heavy machine gun fire, whatever they've got. And that's when they would call us in to make those guys quit doing that. Here's one of the guys that's getting shot at. This guy's name is John Cozzolini. Everybody calls him Cos. His primary job is he's a police dispatcher in New Jersey, but he's also part of the Jersey Army National Guard, which means he got called up to go to Afghanistan, leaves his primary job, and goes to Afghanistan for 8 or 10 months. And his job is to provide security for a provincial reconstruction team. This is a team that goes village to village. They have translators with them, and they interact with the local friendly Afghans, and they try to build a relationship with the United States so that they can then fight against the insurgents together. And John's whole job is just to provide security for that team. This is what they roll in right here. These are MRAPs, mine-resistant ambush protected vehicles. So they're all hardened. Everywhere is thick steel. The doors weigh a ton. The windows are all thick, bulletproof windows. And they'll roll around in about 5 of these in a convoy when they go from town to town for protection. Protects against roadside bombs. This is all reinforced under here. Remember these guys, one day these guys were waiting for Cos and the other Jersey guys as they were cruising along. So these are RPGs right here. Here's a closer look. RPG, rocket-propelled grenade. This is designed as an anti-tank weapon. It's kind of Soviet-era weapon. It's fired from the shoulder, so these guys can pick these up for pretty cheap in Iran and Pakistan, wherever there's a pretty big arms trade going on. They throw this on their shoulder, they look through the sights, and they just shoot at one of our vehicles. It's pretty lethal. So as Cos and his guys are rolling down the road one day, they're on a dirt road. You got ridges going up both sides with nobody else around, just out in the middle of nowhere. And they kind of started feeling like this might be a position to be ambushed. Sure enough, just as they were about to stop and kind of formulate a plan, an RPG struck the left side of Cos's vehicle here. You see it detonated on the tow rope, which was lucky for them because it detonated outside the vehicle. But it's still, here's a closer view, and there's an entry hole here where part of the RPG went straight into the vehicle. It went in one wall, it pierced one of the big air tanks that controls the brakes, pierced the other air tank on the other side, and then it went out the other side in this clean hole. This looks pretty mild, right? I mean, just a small hole, but imagine that thing exploding on the outside of the MRAP when it first detonated. Shook the whole thing, there was smoke that filled the inside, and this guy, Staff Sergeant Villanueva, he was the gunner on the gun turret, which is on the top of the vehicle. So he was standing right where he's sitting now, looking up and manning the gun. And when that RPG hit, he fell down inside, and all the guys inside thought he had been hit for sure, because there was smoke everywhere. It was very violent. And he just jumped right back up and started manning the gun and shooting the 50 caliber gun back at these guys. These dudes got fully ambushed. They were surrounded by 3 sides. They were taking heavy machine gun fire. These guys were showing really good tactics. They were shooting from behind a ridge, dropping down behind the ridge, moving, popping up, and shooting again. And all the Cos's guys did what they probably, I would guess, were not supposed to do. And instead of staying in the safety of the vehicles and just getting shot at, they all jumped out of the vehicles to return fire. Okay, so they jumped out. These guys told me they emptied a magazine from their weapon before they even knew what happened. I mean, they were pumped up. This was their first fight in the 2 months that they had been there, and they were in some pretty serious stuff. I got word about 5 minutes later that these guys were in trouble. I was sitting on the runway with the engine running, and we got there as quick as we could. I flew over about 500 feet, 600 miles an hour or so, with the afterburner lit, which is super loud. Just make a bunch of noise. I was trying to scare the Taliban into retreating. And when I did that, apparently that changed the firefight. That was enough to have just a little pause in the insurgent firing. And it also gave our guys, Cos and his guys, a bunch of motivation. Cos told me later that it was like having a warm protective blanket over the convoy to have jet noise over there. Unfortunately, the insurgents continued firing. They regrouped and they started firing again. They continued to shoot RPGs at Cos and his guys. So I dropped a 500-pound bomb 1 ridge over, which was close enough to basically tell them that we're serious and that they need to stop shooting was the message it sent. So they kind of melted into the woods and just stopped shooting. Cos and his guys were able to get a team to come out and rescue them and tow the vehicle away. Cos and his guys shot over 3,500 bullets in this firefight, and they all got out alive, no injuries. They took 5 RPGs were shot at them, and who knows how much heavy machine gun fire. It was pretty amazing that they got out of there alive. I showed up at this little base, this tiny little forward operating base that I don't think fighter pilots ever go to. These guys, I don't think had ever met a fighter pilot there. And it was amazing walking into their hooch. They dropped everything they were doing. They practically tackled me just to shake my hand and thank me for saving their lives. It was really cool. And what had been kind of an ordinary mission for me, I knew these guys were in trouble. You know, I knew we needed to do something quick, but I didn't realize quite how serious it was being up there in the jet and not being down there with them. So, you know, 4 years at Summerville, wanted to be a fighter pilot, 4 years at the academy, 8 years of training to be a pilot, and I didn't realize how great it would feel for someone to shake my hand and say, hey man, you saved my life. I'll never forget this day with the Jersey guys. This is the best day of the war for me, being able to meet these guys and just know that I made a difference on the ground. Here's one last picture with Cause and me there as it started to rain on us. I want to tell you about another buddy of mine I flew with a few years ago at pilot training. His name is Nick Giglio. We were instructor pilots together at Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas. Nick was just a great dude, super fun to fly with. We traveled together and stuff. Just a funny guy, you know, always making jokes. He would stop everything to do anything for anybody. He was a great dude. Great family, his wife Lee and the kids. And this is a family that Nick left behind when he died in a mid-air collision in an F-16 about 3 years ago now. I was lucky enough to, Cassie and I were able to travel to the funeral. This is at Arlington National Cemetery. And I was really impressed because all the fighter pilots from 3 squadrons in South Carolina made the 8-hour drive with their families to come up to this funeral. It was fantastic. It was full military honors. So we had the honor guard there, 21-gun salute. We had a 4-ship of F-16s fly over the missing man formation. They fly over low and one of them peels off to kind of honor the sacrifice that Nick had made. And it was pretty emotional, that flyover, especially with all the pilots there, all his buddies, all his family. But I'll tell you what really got me. They took this flag from the top of Nick's coffin, and the honor guard folds it perfectly into this perfect triangle. And they present it to Nick's mom. And they tell her, thank you for your son's service to the military, to the country. And she took the flag and they lowered Nick's coffin down into the ground. And the funeral was pretty much over and people start filing out. And Nick's mom has the flag and it's just, she's got it, she's hugging the flag against her chest. And of course tears are streaming down her face. And the honor guard is waiting there with the open triangle-shaped box that the flag fits perfectly, and it was very clear that they wanted to take the flag back and then they would give it to her later. When she walked up to him, just covered in tears, holding the flag, she just stopped in front of him and she just looked at him and cried. And they waited, and she just wouldn't give the flag back. She just held it. That was her son. She was holding her son. And she didn't want to give him away. And at that moment I realized that's what the flag means to a lot of people. It means different things. For some people it means sacrifice. For some people it means freedom, memory of a loved one. On bases around the world, every day, the flag goes up in the morning, it comes down in the afternoon. And when that happens, the whole base stops. What I mean by that is in the afternoon they play the national anthem as they lower the flag. And when those first notes start, everybody outside walking, I'm talking military members, their wives, their families, kids, civilians, everybody. They stop, whether they're leaving the grocery store, going to the post office, doing whatever. They stop, and they face the direction of the flag. All the cars on base stop. Right in the middle of the road. The lights turn green and nobody goes. The whole base stops for that 2 minutes while the flag comes down. And that's because everybody knows that while that flag is coming down, there's Americans all around the world that are risking their lives for the United States. And so they take pause to honor that. So I did the Pledge of Allegiance with you guys this morning. Tomorrow when you do the Pledge of Allegiance, figure out what that flag means to you. If it doesn't mean anything to you right now, that's okay. But just pause silently and just realize there's something bigger going on outside of Summerville. There's something bigger going outside of Tuolumne County. I'm going to leave you with one last thing. This is my buddy Khan Krychek, great pilot, flew with him in Afghanistan. And he's doing the pregame tradition that we would do before we flew a combat sortie every time. He's sitting at the door there, fly like a champion, it says. There's a little pin-up, probably 50s model there or something, in good fighter pilot tradition. There's got to be a girl in there somewhere. And that's what we did every time we stepped out the door. It kind of just was a reminder, hey, fly like a champion. And there it's easy. You always do your best because you know the guys on the ground, they were counting on us. We had to give 100% because if we didn't, then somebody could die. But what's tougher is those menial tasks, the ones that don't matter that much. Why would you do well on those when nobody's looking? You know, why study for a test you know isn't going to be a big part of your grade? Why train 100% at practice when you know nobody will know the difference if you just give 90% and slack a little bit? Well, that difference in excellence, that's the difference between an average student, an average athlete, an average person, and the champion. That extra bit of difference is what makes somebody a champion. So whatever you do, don't suck. Kick butt. Get out there and try hard at everything you do. And when you realize what you want to do in life, everybody's going to know you as a champion. And they'll do anything for you. They will bend over backwards to get you where you need to be because they know you're a champion. So live it. I'll open it up for questions. We got 3 minutes for questions. Go ahead.
So how many of those pictures did you take?
I took a lot of the ones on the ground with the airplanes and stuff. I took the majority of them.
Someone's flying too?
I just found some stuff on the internet. What else? You guys don't want to know how I pee in the jet? It's a 6-hour flight? Yeah.
How do you pee in the jet?
Great question. I thought you never asked. Yeah, it's really primitive, actually. First of all, the F-16 seat sits back like this. So we're sitting like this. You're peeing uphill. That's the first challenge. We basically just have these, we call them piddle packs. No kidding. Bring 3 or 4 piddle packs with you. It's just a bag with some absorbent material in the bottom that gels the liquid. And you just, we have a code word for it. We tell the other airplane, hey, I'm racehorse. That just means, hey, just leave me alone for a minute. I'm taking a pee. So you say racehorse, you copy, real tough fighter pilot voice. Racehorse copy. And you unstrap and everything's safe to seat and pee in a bag, basically. With all this technology, that's really all we do. And then just roll it up. It just sits like right there. You get out of the jet, you have like 3 pill packs. Yeah. You listen to music while we're flying? No. We have at least 2 radios we're monitoring at all times. So there's not really any time or ability to listen to music. But yeah, it would help sometimes. Yeah.
What was the hardest part about actually getting your way to being able to be a fighter pilot?
The hardest part, I would say, is just the process, man. From junior year at Summerville through pilot training was like years, right? I mean, it just took sticking with it and keeping my eye on what I wanted and just putting up with a bunch of stuff to get there. So I would say no one thing was bad. It's just all of them kind of added up together. What do we got? One more question for sales staff? Yeah, go ahead.
What made you want to do this?
Dude, when I was a kid, I saw Top Gun. It's a Navy movie, you guys realize, right? And it's really ridiculous, but it's great. And I saw that, I said, that's what I want to do. I couldn't think of anything else. I thought, if this doesn't work out, I'm screwed. I got no backup plan. So I'm just glad that it worked out for me. Hey, I know you guys have more questions. I'm going to stick around here when you guys leave. I don't want to hold you any longer, but come on down and talk to me.
Hey, hold on. I want to give you just a little bit more information I forgot to give you. He talked about 100%. That's what he did in high school. Because in order to get into the academy, Air Force Academy, he had to give 100%. His grades, that's what he was talking about, is making sure you gave 100%, get everything in, and be on top of everything. He was a top-notch athlete here at Summerville. He was ASB president. He was a leader here. He also had to get a congressional recommendation in order to get into the academy. So these are the types of things you guys are planning for now to make sure that you set up your future very well.